Hi everybody, it's Amy, also known as Aussie Stitcher in Texas, here for Flosstube number 11. I want to say thank you to all my returning viewers and subscribers, and also a warm welcome to my new subscribers and any new viewers who may be watching me today. I really thank you for taking the time to join me on my little stitching journey. So this is a channel on YouTube where I talk about cross stitch, pretty much just cross stitch. I do a little bit of diamond painting, which I did in this last month to catch one of my Whip Go goals, but primarily my main hobby is cross stitch. So let's jump right into it. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Fort Worth, Texas, starting to warm up, which I am looking forward to. I'm not a cold weather girl. I very much prefer the hotter weather, although I know I'll be regretting that in a couple months when we're in the height of summer here in Texas and it doesn't drop below 90 for about 3 months. So it's just the way it is when you live out here. So let's jump right into it. I'm using my lunch break to record this video, so I obviously don't have a lot of time. So let's start with, I have two kind of successes for this month and two unexpected successes, I will say. So I have two finishes, one actual finish, so the object is finished, and the other one is a partial finish. So first up, this is my Autumn by Cricut collection. I will pop up a photo of what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is the finished object. So here we go, Autumn all done. So this is stitched on a 28 count Monaco that I picked up from Michael's and then hand dyed myself. So let's get up close and personal, using all the called for colors. The only changes I made, I hope I'm still keeping this in frame, yeah. The only changes I made were to, I made the hat of the pumpkin in a toile, which you probably can't see. Oh yeah, you can kind of see there. In a toile, and then the kind of floating leaves of up here, these were called for in a silken colors, I think it was, and I didn't have that and didn't want to do it for, you know, as many stitches as there were, so I just used whatever they had then recommended in the DMC conversion. So this is all done. Like I said, this was an unexpected finish. I was working on, so the last time you saw it, I had kind of like half of the U done, just the U letter, not all the little internal bits here. And I finished the U and then was like, oh, I've just got the A left. The A was so blocky, like this is all one color. This is all, you know, 95% black with a couple of colors up here. This is all black. So I was like, just get this finished and then you can get something knocked off your whip list and maybe start a new one. So that is Autumn by the Cricut collection. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to finish that. I do have Winter complete, which I then did in a flap fold. So I may do a flap fold as well. They are, you know, seasonal pieces, so they're only out for a couple months of the year, and then flap folds are very easy to then store away, which I really do like. So next up of my unexpected finishes, this was actually one of my Whip Go calls for the month, is my Mirabilia Garden Prelude. So here is what she looks like. The call for this month was I think 5 days is what it was on. And I completed what ended up being 7 days because I was, you know, when you've got the Q snap in a spot and then you're like finishing a section, I was like, I may as well finish out this section. And then realized once I'd finished that section, I actually didn't have a whole hell of a lot left to go. So I'll pop up here what it looked like the last time you saw it. And this is what it looks like, all finished for the stitching. So I have not finished the beading yet or even started the beading, but here is all the stitching done. So let me see if I can get this. So this is on a 32 count lugana in the color Loki by Fabrics by Stephanie. Absolutely love this, using all the called for. So there is DMC, Cricut, Karen Water Lilies in this. And then I also did the skin 1/1, which I've said before, and I'll say it again, never gonna do that again. it just doesn't, it doesn't blend very well. And the reason being is it's very blocky. You can see the blocks in there, and I feel like when it's 2/2, that just kind of flows a little bit better. And I always wondered, why does Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff, why do hers always look great? And I found out in her last video, or the one before, she actually does a lot more work when it comes to basically smoothing out those harsh lines from one color to the next. And I didn't do that. I just, did 1/1 as per the pattern. If this color went there, that color went there, So I'll just stick to 2/2, I think. But this is all done. So when I had done my Whip Go call, I'd finished off the flowers, and then I still had like a couple of days. So I came down into, hold on, let me see if I can fold this so it's a little less awkward. And then I had like some of the dress here that needed to be done. I had like a section here. Well, when that was done, all I had left was like the end of this dress, like basically from here onwards, and then this line. So I was like, I may as well just finish that rather than wait for another month of Whip Go to pull it out. So all done stitching. I need to do the beading, still need to figure out how I'm going to bead because of the size of this and Q-snaps and whatnot. So what I may end up doing is, because the beading's really only in the like flowery sections. So what I might do is I might put it in my Q-snap for one round. So, do this bit as an example, do all the beading here or on that side, and then put it into a small. So if I've done that side, that's all fine. Obviously I can't re-put it in a Q-snap, I don't think. I'll give it a try, but I've got to make sure that nothing would be pulled. But if it doesn't, then when I would do this side as an example, I might just put it into like a hoop. So then I'm just kind of covering up this section that I'm doing. So right now that is my plan. But if anybody has any other advice, I don't have a scroll frame big enough, I think, like to do this length. So I don't think I can put it on my scroll frame. I hate using my scroll frame anyway. Spent a fortune on that Needle Needs Millennium frame and hate it. So good job, me. So that is my Mirabilia Garden Prelude. Next up, I did have a new start for the month. So one that I was planning on and kind of then replaced the finish that I ended up doing. So my whip count kind of didn't go up, thankfully, but I mean, that's not bad. I don't have a huge amount of whips. So the new start I did was from Lila Studio, and it is Halloween Quaker. So I have admired this pattern for a very long time. I'm normally not a Quaker person. Others I've seen haven't grabbed my attention. This one did. And even though it's not Halloween, I'm not really a seasonal stitcher anyway. I can stitch outside the seasons. It is fine with me. I stitch kind of what I want to when I want to. I am doing this on a 40 count Verdal by bestitchme. And this is where I am up to. So I got about 2,000 stitches in. It is 1/1 except. So what I did do was, so this is 310. This is all, and it's supposed to be 310. And I was just like not loving the coverage, although when you look at it back here, it does look perfectly fine. So I thought I'm going to try sulky. I hear people talk about sulkies quite a bit, mainly the girls from the Steel City Stitches, and how much they love them and the coverage is great and yada, yada, yada. Well, I don't know if I bought the wrong sulky. I've got the 40 weight, I think is what it's called. Is that too thin? Because 1/1 was worse than 1/1 310. So I've done 2/1 and I'm liking the coverage, and 2/1 then lets me do a loop start, which I much more enjoy than a non-loop start. But it drives me insane because it's coming off the spool. So I've got some on here still because I've got like 2 dots I need to do, so I didn't want to just throw this out. because it's coming off the spool, it's, you know, it's looped. So I do try to kind of like pre-pull a thread and then just kind of drape it over something. So hopefully some of the weight of the thread itself helps it straighten out. But then also because it's so smooth and silky, when my thread starts to get a little bit shorter, like my needle will fall off. And last night, you know, needle fell off twice. First time I found the needle, second time I couldn't. Like I had a blanket on my lap. I'm like I'm like dead still, not moving, slowly looking. I pull out an extra needle minder and I'm like running it all over my body and the blanket, hoping that the magnet would pick up the needle. Could not find this needle. Take the blanket over to like the hardwood floor area of my apartment to hopefully kind of shake it gently and hear the clink. Still can't find it. So then I'm like, at some point, I'm either going to sit on this needle or this needle's going through my foot, which I very much do not want to happen. So this morning before I started work, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try, you know, the ground around where I sit. Maybe it did, you know, fall off the blanket. So again, I'm there with my little needle minder running it across the area rug that I have, slowly waiting to hear that clink of the metal picking up the needle. Of the magnet picking up the needle. And thankfully it did. And I know I've only dropped one needle. So that was the needle I dropped. Needle found. So now I have the relief of not worrying that, you know, I'm going to step or sit on a needle in the coming days. But all that to say, that is my new start. Halloween Quaker from Lila Studios. Picked that up off her Etsy store. It is Pattern Keeper compatible. It's a little clunky in Pattern Keeper. Like when you highlight a spot or when you move, it does kind of take an extra couple of seconds. But that's fine. It still works. You do have to manually put in the colors though, because it is using classic colorworks. I'm using all the cord for. There's 310 in there, which easily comes up. You can put in. But for the rest, you do need to kind of manipulate it a little bit where you pick what you think is the closest color. And then you can write in like bamboo and frog's legs and black coffee and things like that. So it's not a perfect mock-up what you get the way you do when it's DMC, because DMC is programmed in to Pattern Keeper, but at least, you know, it's in there. You can highlight all the symbols. It does work, you know, 99% of the way. You just don't, you know, it's just not a perfect color representation, which I'm fine with. I am such a Pattern Keeper convert that when I do need to work on paper patterns, it's a real bugbear of mine, and I find it quite difficult now. But it's necessary. Some patterns just don't come electronically, unfortunately, so we do what we must, stitch what we want. So let's move on to my next piece. Next, I am not putting these in the order I actually worked on them. These are just what's in my pile next to me. But next up, I worked on my Heaven and Earth designs. I have set a goal for myself this year to finish my Heaven and Earth designs this year. So what I did was broke the pattern up because, again, Pattern Keeper compatible. I can see how many stitches I have left. And I basically just took that number and divided it by 12, and it was like 840 something. So I set the goal of I have to do at least 850 stitches a month in order to then reach that goal by end of the year, end of December. Also bearing in mind, I do have this on my Whipco board twice, so that helps as well. So I worked on this and got in 953 stitches. So I'm now at 75.12%. I am working on the Faces of Faery, I should probably tell you that, 201 by Jasmine Becket Griffith. And I am in kind of this section here is what I was working on. I'll throw up a photo of what it looked like the last time you saw it. This is confetti hell right now where I am in that mask. It is so much confetti, but the plus side is in the last kind of 2 months, I have probably knocked off about a dozen colors. Which means I take them, you know, once those colors are done and gone, because Pattern Keeper will tell you when you're at 0, I take those off my ring and I put them back in my stash or move them to another project if I have been kind of co-sharing the color between two. So you had the photo of what it looked like last time you saw it, and here is what it looks like now. So I have done pretty much like all of her eye. I think I've got a couple of empties here or there. Got a couple up there, but yeah, the mask is almost completely done. And this piece is just amazing to me, the way all the colors come together. You know, the confetti is worth it in the end. I am making a couple of changes here or there where there's like a random ninja stitch. I've said this before, like up here in her hair, there's like random ninja stitches of like bright red, which, I mean, you can't tell back here, but I just don't think detract or enhance the look. So I just have been trying to catch those. Sometimes I don't catch them. Sometimes the stitch is already in and I just leave it. But if I catch it before the stitch goes in, then I will kind of just replace it with one of the colors that's beside it. But absolutely amazing. 75% done. And yeah, can't wait. This will be finished by the end of the year, if not sooner, if, you know, with Whip Go and whatnot. So let me put that there. Next up, what is on my pile? So next up is the one stitch along I am participating in. I try not to participate in stitch alongs because if they're a mystery, you don't know where it's going to end. So, you know, I don't like it and then I don't like the piece. You know, I've invested time in this stitch along and then end up not liking it. But Autumn Lane Stitchery, I have done quite a few of their patterns now and love what they do. Really enjoying this. I'll pop up where you saw it last time. This is the Dark Queen of the Earth, which is an annual stitch along. It was part 7 and I am all caught up and I have kept caught up. I am so proud of myself. I am doing this on the called for. This is Nightshade by Under the Sea Fabrics. See if I can get her all in. So the last time we did this kind of loop around her. Now, I have a problem and I need advice. I am 1 stitch too low up here. I miscounted something down here and didn't realize it until I got all the way over here. So it was not something that I could, you know, unpick and fix without unpicking absolutely everything. So I'm 1 stitch too low. The only thing I'm worried about is, so you can kind of see in the mock-up, and I'll throw up a photo of like what they send. So you can kind of see the shadow of what's to come. Now, it may change, you know, they're very honest about that things may change. But in the mock-up, she has like horns or something like that, which almost look like they touch up here. They'll touch the branches. So I'm like, do I unpick something, even if it's just kind of further up here, and then just move it up an additional stitch? Do I just wait and maybe I can just take 1 stitch out of the horns if there's horns there? Or maybe the horns just kind of look like they touch the branch. I don't know. I'd rather not unpick, so I think I am just gonna wait. But if anybody has any advice, I am more than open to taking it. But this is just stunning. 32 count linen and the color Nightshade. So proud of myself for staying caught up with this piece. No idea what we're going to get this weekend as far as, like, are we going to get the face? Are we going to get arms? Are we going to get something kind of up here? Because I do know there's going to be something in the corners. I don't know, but so far it's very enjoyable and can't wait for that to keep going. And then, oh wait, no, not, and then lastly, next up, I worked on the Nutcracker Parade by the Frosted Pumpkin. Frosted Pumpkin took me a little while to get into. Sorry, just trying to find a cover shot for you. So here's what it looks like. Originally, I wasn't too into like the cutesy and, you know, but you know, the more I saw their pieces, the more I was like, you know what, that's nice to do. They're little, they don't take me very long. So sometimes it's nice just to do something with a little bit more block color, a little bit less fiddly details, although this does have some fiddly details, and just kind of throw it in a little Q-snap or a hoop and just, you know, stitch away. So I'm gonna pop up here where it was, what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is where I am up to. So I have Nutcracker. Last time I had basically Cracker and then this, and then so I finished kind of all up the top, and then the he nut and the mouse king is probably about halfway done, if not a little bit more. So this is so cute. This is on a 28 count Monaco, again, dyed by me. So just a nice little, you know, the piece you get from Michael's cut in half worked perfectly to get Autumn on there, and then this one as well. Not the best for trying to get in a Q-snap at times, I'm not gonna lie. Like, wasn't a big issue with Autumn, but because this is a little bit wider, I can't get kind of the Q-snap, the little 8x8 is kind of too small to get the whole thing in. So I was trying to put it into a nerd tube that I have. And again, you can't fit the whole thing because the smallest size won't fit the whole thing. The biggest size is just that little bit too big where kind of the top and bottom won't grab enough of this fabric to give me good tension. But at least with the nerd tube, it's easy to move around the little one and get I just have to move it more often, which is just the way it is. That's fine. And then my last piece that I worked on is another full coverage called Visit Lothlorien by Country Magic Stitch. Here is what it will look like when it is finished. This is a full coverage, only about 15 colors, maybe 15 or 16 colors, which is really nice. Lots of block color. So with this piece, I started on it and was like, you know, I want to get about 1,000 stitches in. I don't know what's happening with my stitching, if I'm getting faster or if my life is just getting more boring, because the amount of stitching I've done in the last 2 months is actually really quite a lot compared to what I've done before. I'm going to say that my stitching is getting faster versus that my life is getting more boring. But here is where you saw it last time. And my plan for this was to do about 1,000 stitches. And then I kind of saw that I was close to 50%. So I was like, you know what? I want to try and get to 50%, which I did end up doing. So here is where we were at. Sorry, here's where we're at now. Let me pull this down a little bit. This is just a 28 count from Michael's as well. And yeah, now 50% done. And I am trying to go back to like the step parking method. As we're getting a little bit more blocky, I'm gonna go back to that and try to do that with this. I just think it looks so neat. My problem is I start to get a little bit, and this is what happened with my my other full coverage, the Faces of Faery, is when you have, and this one doesn't, but when you do have a lot of confetti, if I'm doing like one stitch here, oh sorry, if like when I'm building this stair step, say, so that like went two stitches below the line. Well, I'm not gonna park a thread for 2 stitches. I'll just do the 2 stitches. And then because I don't always like putting the thread back onto my Annie's Keepers, if there's only a little bit left, if I feel like I can still get another couple stitches, when you have kind of gone a little bit rogue, like I have, I can then like find a spot where I can put, if as long as it's within my Q-snap range, find a spot where I can put that last little bit of thread and just do another couple of stitches, and then like not waste. I don't like wasting thread, even though threads aren't overly expensive here in the US. We're very lucky that, you know, at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, threads can be, you know, 50, 65 cents a skein, which is not expensive compared to when I was in Australia and paid $2.50 for a skein. But I don't like to waste thread. If I feel like I can get another, you know, 5, 10 stitches on a piece of thread, I will get those 5, 10 stitches. So that's why I kind of, end up not doing the stair step parking, as I can see that, well, I've only got 2 stitches over here and then I can just get rid of that thread, and I've only got a little bit over here, but I'm trying because I do like the nice clean look of it. It does take a little bit of getting used to for me with all these like hanging threads and not catching them, but I think I might like use my needle minders maybe to help kind of wrangle them and get them out of my way. But those are the projects I have worked on for the month of March, which is where we're almost at the end of. So let's move into haul. I do have a little bit of haul this month. I went to Hobby Lobby and just picked up some even weave. I really like this even weave that they have. It's nice and soft. I did my, what was it? Tequila Stitch Rovia piece on one of these and absolutely loved it. How kind of smooth the needle went through. The only downside is they're not serged and I don't have a sewing machine. So I manually go around and do the blanket stitch around the edges of these pieces, which takes some time. So I picked up just some, some white to use on something not planned, and then also some ivory because I am planning on one of the other Country Magic stitch pieces that I have. Sorry, I just realized I'm kind of like leaning. One of the other Country Magic pieces that I have is Visit the Mines of Moria. And that has a lot more darker colors. And Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, on the full coverage she's doing, because those are darker, the one she's doing has a lot of dark colors as well. She decided that rather than using a white piece of fabric, she used, I think she said she like either coffee and tea dyed or walnut dyed it, just to kind of take the whiteness out of it and make it a little bit more, a little darker so that, it helps if the color shining through a little bit, So I thought, okay, I'll do that. Initially intending to pick up a piece of white and then just throw some tan or something in there and just dye it myself, but saw that they had like an ivory color and I'm like, that's the color I would have dyed it anyway, so why not pick up the ivory? Next up, I have my 2 Fabric of the Month clubs. I am part of bestitchme and Under the Sea Fabrics. These are the February fabrics. I haven't got my March fabrics yet. They're running a little bit late, which is fine. No problem with that. So first up is my bestitchme. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic because of all the rustling. I get the 40 count Verdal from her, and I was in the mix. So like 1 month I'd get a neutral, 1 month I'd get a color, and have now switched to just the neutrals. So from this next one, whenever that comes, from there on, I am in the neutrals club because I was like, I've got enough colory things, and I noticed I'm picking up a lot more patterns that call for a neutral. So I may as well just switch my Fabric of the Month to neutral, build up that stock a little bit, and I can always flip back. But the color we got for February in the colors was Sorbet. So it's kind of, if you think of an orange sherbet, that's what this one looks like. Not sure what I will stitch on it, but always nice to have things in the stash. Next up is my Under the Sea fabric, and I get here, what did I get? I got the Joblin 32 count, which I think is my normal, and this month the color was Eros, which is this kind of like periwinkle, I want to say, blue. Again, don't have any plans for that, but it will be used eventually. Then I also jumped on 123 Stitch because one of the patterns I had put on to be notified when it was available became available. And that was the Cricut Collection October. So I am an October baby and wanted this pattern because, like I said, I like them. I've got winter, I've got autumn. I don't think I'll do spring and summer. I don't like the color combinations there. And I'm not yet confident in myself to do a big conversion like that. One color here or there I can figure out, but to convert kind of like a whole thing is beyond my current skill set. So I'm just going to leave those for now. But I picked up October. And then because patterns can't travel alone, I have seen on Holly the Cross Stitch Addict, I have been and I've watched her entire back catalog, and she's currently doing this Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And I absolutely love it. I think it is so cute. So I picked that up as well from 123 Stitch. Then I also did a little bit of market shopping from the Top Knot Stitcher. I only got one actual market release, but then picked up some other things too. So the market release I got was from I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Paolo Rizzi is the cross stitch designer, and it is called Just One Chapter. That's from the And Other Lies series. I am, trying to get the no glare. I'm notorious for just one more chapter. I've spent many a night up until the wee hours reading a book to its completion rather than waiting for the weekend when it would have been more sensible. I also picked up, and this is from Primrose Cottage Stitches, the Be Nice or Buzz Off. I thought that was so cute. Not sure if I'd make that into a pillow, but so cute to stitch. And like 1, 2, 3, 4. So only 7 colors of DMC. So nice and simple. Then I had to pick up a little needle minder, 2 little otters, because it is my life's goal to be able to play with otters. And then I thought I would try a Mill Hill Buttons and Beads. This is from the Autumn series. What's it called? Potions and Spells. So nice. Something little, if I want something a little bit different. So that was my haul for the month of March. Let's move on to plans. So plans first and foremost is Whipgo and the Dark Queen of the Earth Part 8. So that will come out on the 1st, whatever that is, Saturday, Sunday. So I will be working on that. The Whipgo calls for April were number 5 and number 17. Number 5 is My Face is a Fairy. So that will get 2,000 stitches in it, which is what I have on my call list. So it will get 2,000. I'm not going to do the 2,000 plus 850 because it's been called for the month. Whatever the call for the month is, that's what it will get, which is 2,000, which is more than the 850, which is nice. When I do that 2,000, it will get me to 82%. So it'll be in the 80s, which is nice. And then my other one, number 17, is Fancy Lady for 5 days. So I'm tossing up between starting the beading on my Garden Prelude to be able to get that maybe done in 5 days, maybe not, but at least get a chunk of that done. And then, I mean, if it's done, then it's done. Comes off the whip list. I wait until probably my birthday for my dad to give me some money so I can frame it. That's usually what I do with the birthday money I get from him, is I'll take it to help me, you know, cover the costs of framing the piece. Or I'll work on my Bella Filipina. I haven't decided yet. I do have the Maiden of Tabataha, if that's how you say it. If it's not, I apologize. I have that, which I'm doing as part of the Teresa Made Me Do It sale. So I may work on that, or I may work on Garden Prelude. I'm still kind of tossing up that there. And then I will still have many days in the month left, judging from my current speed of stitching. So I don't know yet what to start. Like if I'm going to have a new start, part of me wants, because I finished the stitching for Garden Prelude, I finished Autumn, I'm kind of on this kick of wanting to get things finished. The Nutcracker Parade, I'm at 51.42%, so I'm already over halfway there from like 7 days of stitching on it. So I may put some more into that and maybe get another 25% done, and then maybe work on it in May, finish the last piece. I may work on my Visit Lothlorien, because I'm now getting into a bit that is so much block. And I'm over 50% there. Perhaps I will work on that. Or I was thinking as well of looking at, so one of the patterns I bought a couple months ago was the Drawn Thread Welcome Summer. So that's this one. Now I have the threads I need. I did do a bit of a conversion because again, I wasn't paying for Thread Gatherer, the Silken Colors, because they're like $8 and I just don't have that kind of money. If I do that, I do also have, what color is this? From one of my fabrics of the month, Proserpina. This is a Under the Sea Fabrics. So I have that I could do this on. So I'm kind of ready to go there. The called for is lamb's wool, antique lamb's wool on 30 count. This is a 32. So this would work hopefully with the specialty stitches. The kind of 2 count difference won't make a huge problem. If not, I'll just try to figure out how to convert them to crosses. So I might do that. Or I may start October. So I may start this one. Raid through my stash to see if I have something. Now my question with this is, one of the called for is again a Silken Colors. Is it Silken Colors? Yeah. 2 skeins. And those were about $8 a pop. Now it is to write out the whole of like October, the word of October. So it's not like it's only in a couple of places. It is very much, you know, a feature of it. So that's when I am more willing to invest in the, you know, the silks and the fancy flosses, is when you're really going to see it. When it's 10 stitches on one little motif, no, I'm not going to do that. But when it's a big feature, I will. Now I do have from one of my Black Needle Society boxes that I got last year, the Frogwarts box, one of the colors that came through was, I'm just trying to take it off the thing, was Fire Whiskey. And that's kind of like, when I pull up the color on like 1, 2, 3 stitch, it kind of looks like it might work. The problem being is I have one skein of this, and this calls for 2 skeins on 32 count? Where are you? Model is on 30 count. I do have, I'm starting to develop quite the stash of 40 counts. Would 1 skein be enough on 40 count if it calls for 2 skeins? Now, I don't know how much of the 2 skeins you use. It calls for 2 skeins. Does it use 2 full skeins? Is it a skein and a half? I do not know. But if I run out of this, I don't think this is in Colour and Cotton's like normal collection to pick up another one. But like a big part of me wants to use this to be able to use it. You know, I have it sitting in my stash. I'd like to be able to use these things that I get from boxes and stuff like that. I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort to do that, to see where I can like sub in some of these fancy flosses that I have from these boxes. So these are the kind of ones I have. So I have all of these. I just throw them on one of these little ring clip thingies. But like I have this Fire Whiskey, I have Strawberry, I have some Almond M&Ms. I have whatever this is, Forbidden Fiber Co. Look how pretty that is. I have some Weeks, again from like boxes. I have Threadworks. So I want to make sure that I'm trying to, you know, that I'm using these. And then these, what are these? The Gentle Art. These are for the thingamajiggy. What are they called? Oh, no, they're not. Where did I get these from? Parchment, Wood Smoke, Tropical Ocean. No idea. So that's my fancy floss that I've got to figure out how to use somewhere. Sorry to get you off topic. So those are my kind of plans, very loose plans. I don't have a lot of whips now. I only have about 10, which I know to some is actually quite a lot, and to others is quite a little. But because I'm on this kind of high still of the finish from Autumn, I kind of want to, like I said, I want to get more stuff finished so that I can start more stuff. But let me know your thoughts on any of my patterns you've seen that I should start. Maybe I start the Be Kind, maybe I do the buttons and beads, I'm not sure. But thank you everybody for watching. Please, you know, give me, if you find it, to give me a like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and to get my video out there to other people to see. But thank you so much for watching, for making it to the end. I hope you have a great day and are staying cool, staying warm, whatever the weather is where you are. I hope you are enjoying it. But thanks so much, everybody. Bye.